Out of all the strategies that you've done so far, I'm not trying to persuade you either way, but the kids usually like this way that I'm going to show you the best. It's the quickest, it's the easiest, and you're ready for it. Okay? Before I show you that strategy, though, there's a couple warm-ups that I want to take you through because you kind of need to know how to find missing values in an equivalency ratio in order to do this last strategy. Go to the second page. And starting with this little mini diagram, this shows you the difference between what we mean when we say constant and multiplicative structure. It's often confused, okay? You have two ratios, 1 to 3 and 4 to 12. They are equivalent ratios. When I add my 1 to 3, I can make my equivalent ratio 4 to 12 by multiplying both the top and the bottom by how much? And that's what we mean by a constant. When you go and you rainbow with the rainbows coming up and down, that's what we mean by constant. You can also look at it this way. What's the relationship between the 1 and the 3? Times what? That's what we mean by multiplicative structure. Now don't write this out, but I want to show you what this looks like when you did it as an equivalency ratio table. That's my ratio 1 to 3. This is my ratio 4 to 12. Remember when we did this, I would ask you, what's the multiplicative structure? Yeah. That's how we got from 1 to 3, multiplicative structure. When you create a new equivalent ratio going this way, that's called constant. Now watch, we can use constant to create a new one. What if I did this? What's the missing value? Jack, how'd you do it? You use a constant of 2 to get to the new one. But look, no matter what ratio you create, the multiplicative structure never changes. Times 3, times 3, times 3. Okay, now watch, let's practice. We got 2 to 5 is equivalent to 8 to something. So you look at it, and you got to kind of play with it. If it helps you, draw in the arcs. I can't tell from here what I'm multiplying by. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I think it's harder because you actually wind up with a fraction. But you could see a relationship here. That's the constant that we're going to use, right? So to get from 2 to 8, what are we multiplying by? I'm going to write it in. Whatever you do to the top, you got to do to the bottom. What now is our missing value? Smiley. Correct. And what did we use? We used constant or multiplicative structure. Constant. And we use a constant of, in this case, 4. Let's play again. What about this who's you at? What's missing? Can't really tell using constant, but you can using multiplicative structure. Charlie, what do you got as the missing number? 12. Is he right? You used multiplicative structure times 3 to do that. Okay, let's play four corners game. It's a little bit harder, so it helps to diagram it out. Based on these examples, you could figure out a missing value no matter what value is missing. upper left, upper right, lower right. You just got to think it through and start looking at relationships. So you start breaking it apart. I can't really tell between 6 and 21. You don't get a whole number factor. But you can tell from here to here. What do I have to get from 7 to 21? I'm using what, in this case, what's my constant?
Times 3.
Okay, times 3. Now you have to be careful because it's backwards now. You have to say to yourself, what number times 3 will give you 6? R squared.
2.
2 is our missing number, and you just put it in. It helps to draw the arrows and diagram it out.
I noticed the top, so I made it a little easier rather than trying to.
What'd you do?
I did 21 and then point to the 7 divided by 3, and then I did 6 divided by 3.
You could do it that way too, sure. 21 divided by 3, 6 going in the opposite direction, divide by 3. That'll work too. What about this one? You'll see with this one, you could use constant or you could use multiplicative structure because they'll both work. Tom Jr. Yep. You could go this way, times 2. And this way is also times 2. It works out either way. Be careful with number 3. Some mistakes were made today. Look at it, analyze it. Don't assume. If you have to draw arrows, draw arrows. Bridge, what do you have as a missing value? What do you want to put in? Okay, yeah, the constant is 5. You're halfway home.
35?
Yeah, the girl, 35. I had somebody put 77 in here this morning because it looks like it could be 77. So be careful. Draw the arrows whenever you can. Number 4, you could use either multiplicative structure or constant. Either way will work. Steven, what do you got, bud?
I got 6.
Yep, 56.
The constant is times 7.
If you go here, it's times 7. If you go here, it's times 8. Either way will work. Okay, you ready? Last strategy is called template. Repeat after me. Template, ratio, find. We're going to abbreviate it as TRF from here on out. TRF method. It's not going to be on Friday's test because I think we're going to practice it one more time, probably next week. But I'm going to ask you the question at the end of class, whether you like it, you don't like it, and if so, do you find it the best way to do it? Okay, go to the next page. Let's do it. I want you to read the first word problem like you normally do. Highlight, underline, or circle your VIPs. And my advanced group, stay with me for this, just so you can see the format in which you're going to do it. If you went ahead, it's okay too, but look up and see if you're making sure you're doing it right. For everybody else, just go through everything, highlight your stuff, and then I'll ask you to, I'm going to ask you some questions. What did we circle, highlight, or underline? Anthony, what did you do? Okay, what else? All right. First part is called the template part. So here's my question. When you do a template, I'm going to ask you, what things are you comparing in your ratio? Pens, pencils, boys, girls, erasers, chairs. What is it that we are comparing in our ratio? Martina. Okay, so, and the steps are laid out here for you to read, but I'm going to just talk you through the process. You are comparing pools To what was it, hours? I forgot. Hours. You actually write those words in, pools over hours. They're going to serve as labels, so when we put our numbers in, we now know anything having to do with pools, number-wise, has to go on the top. Any numbers that is given in the word problem that have to do with hours needs to go on the bottom. We have to be consistent. If we flip it, we're going to get the wrong answer. Next step is called ratio. What is the entire ratio that they give you in the word problem? Ryan? 3 to 5. And order matters. It's 3 pools in 5 hours. Don't flip it. The order matters. Now we do find. Look in the question, the keywords are how many, how much, how long, how big, how small, how, anything that has how or something that starts as a question. What is it they're asking you to find? Jack. How many pools? Pools is our unknown value. If you want, put a box for pools there. That's the one we're trying to find. And then finally, what's the last piece of information that they give you that we can plug into the template? 10 hours. Hours is the bottom. Now you're right back to what you did in the warm-up. Use either the constant or the multiplicative structure to find the missing number. Bridge. If you use constant, she is right. And then you just put it in a sentence. He can clean 6 pools in 10 hours. That's template ratio find. A lot of you guys have been doing that in your head for the last 3 or 4 weeks anyway. This is just a little bit more formal way of doing it. Yes?
Can we put the 6 in the 5 box?
You can. Absolutely. Let's try another one. Read through it and tell me what my template should be. Dog, what's the template? Yes. Liam, what's my given ratio? 3 pages, 9 minutes. What are they asking you to find? Aiden, minutes or pages? What are they asking you to find? Look again. Sure, it's right there. How many minutes? I don't know. That's what we're trying to find. Like that? And then the last piece of information that they give you would have to be pages, and what's that value? Nice hat. There it is. Everything is now good to go. Can't use constant though. You can, but it's a little bit more difficult. So then look top to bottom. Anthony, what's our missing number? Try again. Alex, 21. Be careful, okay? I know you knew it. 21, and now we answer the question. How many minutes will it take for her to type 7 pages? 21 minutes for 7 pages. Okay? Let's try another example. This has a little bit of a wrinkle to it. It has a little bit of a wrinkle. Same idea, we can still use template ratio find, but the question that they ask is a little different. Let's do the first 2 parts together. What's the template and what's the given ratio? Read through it. What's my template? Smiley.
Seconds to minutes.
Okay. What is my given ratio? Z. Yes. Now, the question's different. He is trying to qualify for nationals and has to be able to swim 100 meters in 55 seconds. What they're really asking, and I don't want you to put this in yet, they want to know whether this is an equivalent ratio for 3 to 5. Don't write it in yet. Let's see. 5 times what is 100?
20.
3 times 20, guess what? It's not 55, but what is it?
60.
It's really 60. So based on his rate, 3 to 5, he is really swimming at a rate of 100 meters in 60 seconds. Is he fast enough to qualify? Yes or no?
Okay.
Think about it. Who's the faster swimmer? Somebody that could swim 100 meters in 55 seconds or 60 seconds?
55 seconds.
He cannot, he's not fast enough. He's got to swim 5 miles, he's got to swim 5 seconds quicker. So right now he cannot qualify. He's too slow. He's got to up his times. He's got to be able to do 100 meters in 55 seconds. Okay? A little bit of a wrinkle with that. You have to think it through. Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean you won't be able to qualify? He's swimming faster. He's swimming at 60 meters. 60
No,
seconds.
no. It's taking him 100 meters,
Oh,
100
no,
meters.
It's taking him longer.
It's taking him longer. That's the part where you have to kind of think through it. Okay? All right, one more together, and then I'm going to tell you how we're going to break up. You can also use template ratio find to do unit rates like we did yesterday, although I really think the way you did it yesterday is the easier way. I'll at least show you how it can be set up. Read through it, and what's the template, which is a little tricky. Read through it and tell me what the template should be. Kaylee. Okay, we have to be careful. I agree, cost is the bottom. But the things that we're comparing, it's not packs to cost, but what to cost. Second attempt. Yeah, it's bottles. Just because it says a 12-pack of bottled water, just think, a 12-pack of bottled water. Visualize 12 bottles. Ready? 12 bottles costs $7.20. So that becomes our given ratio. What is the cost? That's what we're trying to find. For how many bottles? Okay. So now you got to say to yourself, all right, maybe I can do that, but I think I can definitely figure out what to divide by to get to 1. Steven? Watch. This is exactly why I tell you the way we did it yesterday is easier. $7.20 divided by 12. You're right back to what you did yesterday, just doing it a straight division anyway. That's why when it comes to unit rate, I just think the quickest way to do it, take your 12 goes into 720, and you still wind up dividing anyway. I'm just showing you that you can do it as a template. You could do any ratio word problem using template ratio find. What is the answer? 60 cents per bottle. Okay. Listen to what your instructions are. There are two sets of questions. There is the advanced set and the regular set. My advanced math students will go out in the hall when I tell you to, but you're going to need a calculator. Okay? Everybody else, you guys are doing the first set. When you get, I've left you space to draw out template ratio find. If you want, you don't have to write the words template ratio find. You could do T, R, and F and do it that way. You have to do it. You have to show everything, yes. And you got to show it, because if you make a mistake and I don't know what you're doing, I can't give you partial credit. Okay? For my advanced group, you still have to set up your template ratio find, but then when you do your division, you may use a calculator. I want you to use a calculator, otherwise it's going to take forever because you're dealing with decimals constantly. Okay? So advanced, you're out in the hall, grab a calculator. Everybody else group up and let's get it done.